What if I told you you can buy, own, and cash flow rental property for free? Let me tell you how. So I used to spend a ton of hours working in the clinical setting, so I would come up with down payments to buy my investment properties. And so what I found was that I would come up with a lump sum of payment, let's say 20, 30,000, put it down on a house, and then the money's gone. Well, it's not gone, but it's locked in the investment property, and now I have to work a ton of hours again to save up more money to then buy my next investment property. Guys, I'm here to tell you there's a better way. And no, it's not easy. Yes, it requires us to save some money. It does take some work, right? You have to come up with the down payments. This isn't one of those methods that will tell you you can buy, real estate with other people's money or those other scams. This is a real strategy that I personally use. Okay, without further ado, here's the strategy. It's a 4-step easy process that anyone can follow, okay? Step 1, you're gonna save money. You need to have this money somewhere invested, whether it's a money market account, it's a brokerage account, whether it's sitting in a high interest savings account, but wherever you choose to have your savings with, they need to allow you to do what's called an asset-backed loan. Okay, this is very important, guys. This whole strategy is based around this. To be able to do an asset-backed loan. Now, some brokerages will let you do it, but then if your brokerage value gets below a certain threshold, you'll get margin call. My brokerage account doesn't do this, okay? So they can allow me to take an asset-backed loan against my own investments, and then I don't get margin call, I just pay it back as I go along. So they do charge me somewhere around 9% interest, but if the money's sitting in a money market account, which is getting 5% interest on that investment, then your real interest rate on this loan is 4% APY. But I'm going to tell you, you're not going to pay the full 4% on the loan because you're going to do this strategy within 2 months. Okay, how much money you need to save depends on what type of real estate you want to buy. If you'd like to buy a $1 million investment property in Maui, then that's how much you need to save. But if you're like the rest of us and you can only afford to buy a $50,000, $60,000 rental property, then that's how much you need to save. Step 3, you find a property, you know the value of the property, right? Because you research the properties in the surrounding areas, similar conditions, similar size, you see what they're selling for. You know what it will rent for, you do your research. Then you go to your bank, your brokerage account, and you say, hey, I would like an asset-backed loan against my investments. This does 2 things. 1, it prevents you from having to sell your securities if you have them, or to move your money out, so then you're not having a taxable event. And 2, it gives you leverage in buying the house because a cash offer is a stronger offer than let's say a financing offer, someone who's doing FHA or VA loan, or the different loan products we talk about. So cash is always gonna be king, guys. So if you come up to the person, the seller, let's say the house is worth $100,000, right? And you come up with $90,000 cash closing in 2 weeks, you're more likely to get this deal than someone who has the full price but closing in 45 days, subject to loan approval, and they're gonna do inspection and subject to it passing. They have all these contingencies in place, but so the seller may not want to risk waiting this long and then having the deal fall through, so they more likely will go for the cash buy. So right off the bat, you bought $100,000 property, right? 10% discounted at 90,000. Now, let's say you go further and you spend about $5,000 and you do cosmetic stuff, guys. I'm not recommending that you guys do a full top-down renovation on your first deal, okay? So do minor stuff, get someone to paint the place inside if the outside needs to be painted, flooring, carpeting, hire a carpet cleaner. Do whatever cosmetic work you need to do to make the house look nice, okay? Nice on a budget. And there are things that you can do in a house that can raise the value greater than 1-to-1. We'll talk about those in a different video. But if you do a kitchen renovation, you spend $10,000 on it, when you get the house appraised, it's going to appraise more than the $10,000 that you spent to do the kitchen renovation. This type of renovation is called forced appreciation, okay? Now, if you use a subcontractor that overcharge you by a ton, you may not benefit from this. But generally speaking, kitchen, bathroom, new paint, new roof, heating system, cooling system, the mechanicals in a house, most of these things will raise the value of the house more so than the cost of doing this type of work. Okay, back to our example. $100,000 house, you bought it for 90, you spent $5,000 in cosmetics, and let's say it costs you $2,000 to close because you're not using a bank, you're a cash buyer, right? So you forego the bank fees. You spend about $2,000 to close. Once you close, you bring in a tenant, let's say paying $1,200 a month. Okay, so now you own this property, the tenant's paying $1,200 a month, and you could stop right there. You've done well. You're $97,000 and your property's making about $12,000 a year, 12% return on investment, which is a good deal. But we're gonna take this one step further, and this brings us to step number 4. Step number 4, you go to a bank, you tell them, hey, I have this rental property, I bought it, I own it outright, it's cash flowing, but I would like to refinance it and take some money out. And they will say, okay, we'll send someone out to do an appraisal and see how much the property is worth. So when that person goes out to see the property, and let's say they appraise it at 120, because you bought this property for $100,000 and you've done some cosmetic work to it to raise the value, and now the bank appraises it at 120. And so now they tell you they can let you borrow 80% of that, 80% of 120, which is right around $100,000. The bank says, sure, your mortgage will be $600 a month. Now remember, you spent $97,000 total, including your renovation costs, your closing costs, and the cost of purchasing the property. So now the bank is letting you borrow $100,000. It's gonna cost you $3,000 for easy math to close on this new loan. Okay. So now you're all in at $100,000, but the bank gave you $100,000 after closing. You take that $100,000, you go back to your brokerage, and you put it right back where you took it, right? You replace it, you pay back that loan. And guys, this process can happen in 30 days, it can happen in 60 days. It should not take more than 90 days to do this. And so you're not paying the full 4% arbitrage interest rate that the bank is charging you on this loan, right? You're not paying the full interest because you completed the project and returned the loan before the year is over. So maybe you paid your brokerage $1,000 on that loan, okay? Now you put the money back in your vault, right? You made yourself whole, good job. And now you own the property outright, free and clear, for free. Because essentially what you've done is you still have your $100,000 that you saved, right? You still have your own money, and you got to keep the property. The property appreciated in value 20% sweat equity. So now you added 20% to your net worth because it's, you know, it's worth 120, the appraised for 120, and you have a $100,000 mortgage that the tenant is paying, right? You get all the benefits of owning the property, which is, depreciation, appreciation, principal paid down, tax benefits, all of that, which we talked about in another video. So check out my catalog to see the other video about the top 5 best reasons to own real estate. Okay, and on top of all of this, you're cash flowing, let's say $500 a month, right, on this property that you own essentially for free. You don't have any of your money tied up into this deal because you refinance it all out. Okay, that strategy is very powerful, guys. And you may ask, well, what's the worst that could happen? Okay, the worst that could happen, the bank can say, send out the appraiser, and the appraiser can say, hi, I know you did some work into this property, but it's still only worth $100,000. And in this case, the bank lets you borrow 80, you replace 80 into your brokerage, now you still have 20 grand stuck in this deal. And so you have 20,000 stuck in this deal, which is the same as if you had gotten an investment loan and paid 20-25% down anyways, right? So you might as well do it the other way and have the chance to remove all of your money than to, get an investment loan, right? But what's the best thing that could happen? The best thing that could happen, the appraiser could go out and say, wow, your subcontractors, they did a really good job on this renovation and now it's worth $150. And if the property is worth $150, the bank is gonna let you borrow 80%, and let's say for easy math that they let you borrow $120. Now you replace your 100 back into your vault, right, into your personal bank, and then you have 20 extra. So it's like you did a fix and flip to make that extra 20 grand, except you still keep the property, you didn't flip. Not only do you have the extra 20, but now you have an extra 30 added to your net worth because it's worth 150. And guys, this strategy to me is the holy grail of real estate investing. And this strategy works at almost any scale, okay? Some banks may not want to let you borrow less than a certain amount, like 30, 40 grand. But if you have the finances and you're looking at the 12-unit multifamily for $2 million, if you either have the finances to buy that, or if you can get a group of friends and pitch in together, you can use the strategy for any type of real estate, guys. It's a very powerful strategy. I'm not a financial advisor, guys. I work in the clinical setting. I'm just helping you guys by sharing some of my strategies with you, okay? And to me, based on all the different strategies that I've done, and I have videos showing you guys the different type of loans, FHA loans, VA loans, investment loans, and etc., etc. The bottom line is when you get a loan with a bank, there are fees, okay? There are a lot of fees, and so right now the interest rate is really high. And so if you can get a cash flowing property and then refinance all of your money out, this is why I call it the holy grail of real estate investing, which actually comes from my most recent book that I read by Tony Robbins called The Holy Grail of Investing. Alright guys, if you got any sort of value out of this video, please do me a favor, like, comment, and subscribe. Also hit the notification bell so that when I put out new videos, you get notified. This is all I have for you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace.